Welcome back to That Handicapping Show. I'm Claire Novak, joined today by Tom LaMarra, and we are here to talk about the $1 million TVG Pacific Classic Grade 1 mile and a quarter for the 3-year-olds and up at LaMarra. And this race is very exciting because we have champion Beholder having her first chance to take on the males, but this is also a very good field of some talented runners. And Tom, it's kind of an interesting race to handicap.
Yes, it is. I think the mare will be the favorite. She is the morning line favorite. Of course, we know that that doesn't always equate to the horse being the favorite. In this case, I think it will be strictly on her form, and I think a lot of people aren't really that concerned about her racing against males. This is a good bunch, but I wouldn't call it a great bunch, even though last year's Breeders' Cup Classic winner is in the race. But I think, you know, her running style, she's always very near the pace, or she's on the pace, and you know, she can rate, she comes home really well. There's a lot of positives here for her. I'll be curious to see what the price is, because if it's 8 to 5 or something, you know, then you will have some other prices float up and offer some value.
Now, Beholder is trying the mile and a quarter for the first time, but trainer Richard Mandela said the way that she drew off in the Breeders' Cup distaff gives him confidence that she should be able to carry on at a longer distance. So very interesting. She comes off just such a dominant performance last time out, and really fascinating that they've decided to try her against the boys. However, it seems that if she should win this race, they may decide to still go in the distaff versus the Classic. They haven't really, they said, we'll take one step at a time, but just looking ahead to the Breeders' Cup, we may not see her in there against the boys again. Of course, then, if she totally romps in this race, we may, because, as we mentioned, there are some really nice horses in here. Now, as far as the pace scenario goes, you're definitely going to see Bayern out on the lead, and Hall of Fame trainer Bob Baffert has said that's where he needs to be in order to have a shot at winning. He has not won since he won the Breeders' Cup Classic in that controversial victory. And so we'll see him go out there, perhaps Beholder sitting just off of him, maybe this long shot Midnight Storm, who also has shown some early speed. But Tom, you and I both like a horse who has proven he can rate just off the pace. He can close with a very good kick, and that is none other than one of my favorites.
Opportunity.
Yes.
Yes, and I mean, he's not one of my favorite horses.
He's one of my favorite horses.
The reason that I picked the horse is strictly when I handicapped the race. I kept coming back to him. You know, he did finish 4th behind quite a few of these last time out.
Including
in the San Diego, he did.
Bayern was
and he was in a pretty good spot, and he did run on late, but it wasn't enough. Actually, he really got out-kicked by Catch a Flight, who was a couple lengths ahead of him when they turned for home. But his lone mile and a quarter race, which was the Gold Cup, his previous race, he made a really nice move, and actually I thought he was going to win.
Me too.
Hard Aces got the bob, won
Brutal.
by a nose. But, you know, as usual, Opportunity has been training very, very well. And, you know, I'm just hoping that he doesn't drop too far back, because I do agree with you. Midnight Storm has raced on the grass for the last 5 times, and he's run some fast fractions in those races, so I could see him kind of popping out there. And of course, in the San Diego, Bayern did go to the front, but he got pressure, but he ran a really good race. He finished 3rd. He wasn't beaten that much. So I'm going to put him in 3rd. But I do think that Beholder, I think, is 1st or 2nd in this race. I'm just going to go with Opportunity because I think he's due.
Definitely due, very due, says the person who has probably picked him in every single graded race that he's run in since he won the Clark, and previously.
Yes.
However, an interesting note, Ellis Starr, our good friend over at Equibase, who does a lot of work with the speed figures there, he was taking a look at the East Coast shipper Red Vine. Now, this horse is definitely stepping up in class, but some interesting things about him include the fact that his first 13 career starts were on turf, which his pedigree speaks to that, and he has run well at the mile and a quarter distance on the lawn before, so he does have experience there. But what Ellis was saying is the fact that his speed figure pattern has been very strong, and 2 starts ago he ran a career best 1:22, winning that, what was the race that he won there? The Majestic Light, yeah.
At Monmouth Park.
He's going to have to really step up his game here to run well, and I think one of the reasons, you know, I would exclude him are things like needing to handle the ship, heading into a new track where he's never been before, and the fact that, you know, the distance on dirt is a little bit different than the distance on turf. He's running up against some top horses, but it was just interesting for me to note that he actually is Ellis's top selection for this race.
Well, you know, he's raced 3 times at the distance. No wins, but he's got a 2nd and 2/3. And what's interesting, too, is his last race at Monmouth, which was the Salvatore Mile, he ran up against a horse, Braidster, who came back and won again at Monmouth Park. And Monmouth Park can be, and I believe was on those 2 days, extremely speed favoring. Meaning whoever was in the race might have had trouble trying to catch Braidster. This horse ran, you know, he closed from 5th to 2nd. He didn't really gain ground through the race, but it was a pretty good effort. And I think, you know, this is the kind of horse that you would probably look at it at a price, and he is right about, I mean, his speed figures, his Equibase speed figures are very strong. So.
All right, so Tom, you and I both picking Opportunity. I'll take Beholder 2nd and Hard Aces 3rd.
All right.
All right, and it's going to be a good weekend of racing. Although we don't have a ton of Grade 1 stakes, we do have the Alabama from Saratoga, featuring the dynamic Larry Jones duo of the Kentucky Oaks winner Lovely Maria and I'm a Chatterbox, and Carolina, who won the Coaching Club American Oaks via the disqualification of I'm a Chatterbox last time out. So those 3 in the Alabama should be very interesting.
It should be.
And we will keep all of our coverage at bloodhorse.com for you to follow. We always want to say thank you to Equibase for the PPs, and thank you for watching that handicapping show.